soup to nuts, like start to end, how to do everything from financing to identifying properties to picking the right MSA to picking your buy box and building your buy box. It's really everything. And so seasoned investors would get something out of it. Certainly from a beginner standpoint, it's going to cover everything you need.
How do you find the will to fight back against a world that wants to keep you sedated, average, and stuck in place? Join us for the tools and strategies you need to create a life of abundance, discipline, and high achievement. This is the Tactical Empire with Jeff Smith.
Welcome to another episode of the Tactical Empire. I am here with Shawn Rider. How are you today, sir?
I can't complain. There's only one thing I'll complain about, and that is our city has put up speed cameras all around town, mainly in school zones, which is fair enough, I guess. But I got my first $100 ticket from the speed cameras that are unmanned, saying I was going 35 into 20.
Oh, you got to fight those, brother. Those are unconstitutional.
We
got our red light cameras removed in Houston for that reason, for that exact same reason.
There is I believe a civil lawsuit against the city right now due to them. The first day they've had thousands of tickets issued, blatantly $100, thousand plus tickets. The first day that they were on the docket to be heard in court, all 30 cases were removed due to the system not being accurate. So I actually had called. I called this morning, the police department, to clarify. I was like, look, this is a school zone, but it's only supposed to register when school's in session. And this was after school was let out for the summer. And their thing was that they only register when the lights are flashing and summer school was in session. Like, there's no way I would have sped through a school zone if the lights were flashing. Like, I drive through school zones every day when I take my kids. Like, when they're flashing, they're bright. You see them. And so... But it's like, do I set a court date or do I just pay $100 and move on? But it's the money's one thing, but the government overreach and what it means for second and third order consequences if we allow it is a whole nother topic.
There you go. See, you got to be a leader in your community. I expect you to fight it till the end, or we're going to have problems. Take it all the way to city council, be the mayor. I want you on the steps of DC for this shit.
Well, how do you fight technology, right? Like, if I walk in, like, Judge, the lights were not flashing. Well, yeah, they were. Well, how do you know? How do you know they were flashing? How do you know the tech is working correctly? Oh.
Ours in Houston were writing tickets for red light cameras, and so they would just issue you tickets if you went past the yellow, like if you were late getting through the light, and if you rolled the right turns. So I got one for rolling a turn on red the same way, but they would issue those $125 a pop, and they took them down after like 2 years, and they had to throw out a ton of cases like you're talking about. So they spent all these millions of dollars putting them up, and then they almost never got any money and revenue from it because of the constitutionality of the whole situation. So
could you imagine? It's like, hey, we want an extra $100,000 this month, and they just hit a button. And like, how do you, like, the camera's one thing, the speedometers or the speed gun's another thing. Like,
well, how is it any different than just putting your cops on like a speeding ticket quota for the month?
Right, exactly right. So
it's all bullshit.
I had a discussion. Yeah, sorry, I had a discussion with my kids in the car, and my kids all think it's a little ridiculous. My wife was like, "Well, dude, your daddy was speeding." I was like, "That's not the discussion we're having. The discussion is whether or not they're allowed to put the cameras up." So it was a topic of debate yesterday. But anyways, you asked me how I was doing. That's the only thing I'm currently complaining about. How are you?
I'm fantastic, man. I am excited. We got a lot of stuff going. I had a great 4th of July holiday, and now I feel like it lasted like 7 days. So I am ready to get back to it. We're rolling out this course next week, which I'm super excited about. And that's what we're going to talk about this morning. So that's awesome.
Yes, you are getting back to work. And what's happening, ladies and gentlemen, today's episode is going to just be priming you for the course that Jeff and another Tactical Empire Inner Circle coach, Justin Harach, are going to put on next week. If you're hearing this, it's most likely dropping on a Thursday. We'll put the link to the course in the comments below. But Jeff, why don't you tell the people the purpose of the course, it is revolving around real estate. It is getting people set up to buy either their first property or their next property in the next 60 to 90 days. So what exactly are you and Justin going to be teeing up for the people?
Well, I mean, out of 100% transparency, we needed this resource for our group because this course has been about 2 years too late in the demand for it, I should say. Probably 3 years too late, to be quite honest. But so what we're doing, Justin and I have bought and sold and rented hundreds of houses. We've bird a ton of properties, and people always have questions about how to break into the rental game. They are apprehensive. They think they're going to make mistakes, blah, blah, blah. And so what we want to do is we want to take all those questions and remove the fear and apprehension. And also, if you're buying your next one or whatever, it's like, get off your ass and let's do it. Let's get it in Q3 and continue to create momentum with what we're doing. Because the reality of like real estate investing is that you have to do it and you have to continue to do it. And that's all there is to it. We have a tendency to psych ourselves out with certain economic situations and things like that, and geopolitical shit going on. And the reality is, if you just keep on moving one foot in front of the other with your real estate portfolio, like, you will build whatever you want in life. And so for this course, we're going to do like soup to nuts, like start to end, how to do everything from financing to identifying properties to picking the right MSA to picking your buy box and building your buy box. It's really everything. And so seasoned investors would get something out of it, certainly. But from a beginner standpoint, it's going to cover everything you need. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to build this resource for our clients specifically, but like, we're opening it up to the public, but I didn't want to charge a bunch of money. So it's $49 for 4 days of hour and a half teaching from Justin and I. We're going to do about 60 minutes a day of teaching is the idea. And then about 30 minutes of Q&A for actual tactical, practical application stuff that they should be doing as they step through the process.
So for less than minimum wage, people could pay you to teach them how to buy their next product. That's $8.25 or $8.50 an hour for an investment, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure the value built will hopefully be at least 2x the $49 investment here. But it's actually interesting that you said what you said about the economic factors, and not to change the topic to that specifically, but when I was thinking about podcast topics for this week to play off of the real estate course, one of the ones that came to mind was people who have been thinking about buying real estate, but they haven't because 4 years ago the excuse was COVID. Then it was house prices. Then it was interest rates. Now it's an election year. So every year there is something macroeconomically that you can blame anything on. So Jeff, can you dive into the importance of people possibly, for lack of a better term, starting to look past that? How do you look past what's on the headlines? How do you look past on what other people are focused on and just stay internal on what is my goal? What is my path? What is in my control? And ultimately, how do I take action on this? I know that is the purpose of the course, but at least if the people aren't going to buy the $49 course, you have to. How do you get out of your own way and stop looking at macroeconomics?
Well, I mean, it just goes back to the saying, the best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago, and the second best time to plant a tree is today.
Sure.
And so, like, time is all that matters in the real estate game. If you look at the trajectory of the historical market, it's just gone up for 100 years, and it's not going to stop doing that. And so if you have a consideration to be involved in real estate investing, like, the best time to do it was now, because what they're sitting there doing is saying, man, I wish I would have bought in 2018. No shit. But like, what if we bought today instead? Because in 2028, you'll be saying, man, I wish I would have bought in 2024. And so it's just the cycle of those things don't go away. Like, you have to change your behavior pattern if you want things to change for you. And so is it going to be a great deal? Yeah, it's probably going to be the same trajectory of a deal that you would have bought in 2010 and held till 2024 if you do the same thing right now. and hold it till 2038. So, I mean, it's just people tend to have a laundry list of why nots and are able to talk themselves out of almost anything. And when it comes to being successful for themselves, because they're not willing to bet on themselves. And like, I mean, we teach financial freedom, if you will, and I don't even like that term very much, but I have to use it periodically. But the fact of the matter is, like, you need to be taking more and more control over your financial situation. And one of the ways to do it is through real estate investing. And there's a lot of different investment opportunities and asset classes and things like that. But ultimately, holding on to some of your money and putting it into real hard assets right now is one of the smartest things you can probably do with all the turbulence going on in the marketplace. Pick something, businesses or real estate, and you need to have some of your investment portfolio in each of those, in my opinion, from the tax benefit standpoints and the long-term investment upside of it.
So you just teed up the best follow-up question is, why are hard assets something people need to be in? Well, Jeff, my grandpa and my parents, they didn't buy real estate. They've done just fine. They've been putting money in the stock market. They actually have a financial advisor right down the road. He's a really good guy. He's fantastic. He's like the best financial advisor in the country in small town USA, right? Like, so why are we saying people need to be in hard assets? What is the value?
Well, hard assets, you actually control the asset, and it's the most stable assets that you can hold in an unstable world. Like, you're talking about, what is the volatility of the dollar right now? It's pretty volatile, right? People have been talking about it for years. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole on this episode, but like, you want to control the things that you can control. You have more upside with investing in businesses and real estate specifically than you do. The stock market is a lazy man's path to wealth, quite frankly, and you really can't get wealthy. People would argue with me on that all day long, but the reality of it is that you're giving your money to someone else who's going out and taking the risk with your money. And you can't tell me they're not out earning your rate of return that they're willing to give you for holding your money. So if you're getting 8% from the market, you can bet your fucking ass that they're getting 28, 38% on that same money and kicking you back the pennies. And so it's just another example of like abdication of responsibility in my mind. I don't think you can control the market at all. Whereas your business or your real estate, you have levers you can pull and control on the level of value that they hold. They're more liquid to a point. I don't know. People argue with me about this all the time, and I don't really care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. I just believe in real estate and businesses and hard assets more than I would ever believe in the stock market.
I think that the two biggest things that I had to come to grips with when I made the transition from just stocking money away in the stock market to buying real estate, buying hard assets. One was the here and now, and one was the potential future. The here and now was my stock portfolio didn't pay me. It didn't benefit me at all. And so this set it and forget it mindset. And it's like, I like delayed gratification, but it's used in the wrong sense here, where when people are storing money away, who is to say that that money is going to be there in the future? Like, today's economy is not the economy from 40 years ago. It is manipulated. It changes way too rapidly. And if there is an 18 to 24 month downturn, the year that you're going into quote retirement, that's going to severely impact the amount, which is normally, I mean, the 4% rule is one thing, but most people's portfolios, if they pull 4% a year in retirement, they're going to have like 15 years of no money. If they live to over 80 years old or whatever it is. Don't quote me on those numbers, but that's the here and now. Is like the hard assets put money in my pocket today. They give me real tax incentives today. And then the other thing that you said that I actually want to harp on, which I didn't understand fully until, nowadays in the year 2024, is with the destabilization of currencies and the potential of what could happen, with the US dollar as the world's reserve currency, people get concerned about the risk of real estate. And it's like, look, if you hold hard assets and something happens to the currency, you now will just trade your hard asset for the new dominant thing, whatever that may be. So the value will just convert to that new thing. And so that's something that really opened my eyes to like, okay, yeah, it is a hedge against currencies and having your money in currency. So I appreciate that. But let's go ahead and talk to the people that may have never invested in a course. I mean, guys, $49. If you have a family of 4, your dinners that you eat on Friday nights cost more than $49. So I hope you see how low of an investment this is for the potential high return. Just from an education standpoint, like, do we want you to take action and buy a property in 69 days? Yeah, it'd be freaking fantastic. But what you learn will be there forever. So whether it takes you 60 to 90 days, 6 to 9 months, or 6 to 9 years, I hope to God it doesn't take you that long. But you'll be learning something that you'll be able to use for the rest of your life. But talking to the people that haven't invested in a course or invested in a group coach or a one-on-one coach or mastermind, how should they approach this investment? How should they come in to the course with the expectation of learning everything, or just learning something, or just taking one thing away and feeling satisfied? What is the mindset they should have going into this?
It depends on where you're at in your career, I guess. If you're a beginner, my approach would be different than like a seasoned investor who has like, and I'm using that term loosely. If they have, like, let's say they have 6 rental properties and they've just been stagnant for a year and a half or something and haven't added, but they need that push to get to the next one, if you will, or something like that, or they need something answered for them. Like those type of people would probably be the people coming for one thing. Like, I need one question answered. Because what you haven't mentioned is like, I bought my first apartment complex in 2006. And so like Justin's been in the game for a handful of years, runs multiple companies that are vertically integrated with the real estate game. Like the level of experience that you're getting, like most people don't know how to come in and buy more rental properties. The number one misconception is that you have to do it with your own money and your own social security number and get financed like you do on a personal residence. And so that's what stops most real estate investors from even getting started, because they're like, my debt to income is not going to fly on more than like 2 of these ever. So why would I even spend the money on one of these to go down the road? Because I can't get 100. You know what I mean? And so like those simple like misconceptions are what we're going to cover. We're going to cover DSCR loans. We're going to cover debt service coverage ratio loans. We're going to cover how to get loans that aren't based on your debt to income and how you finance these properties. Because I'm sure that every single person that has any interest in real estate knows somebody who has a bunch of properties, and they're like, how do you go out there and get all those properties? Because I went to the bank and they would only give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can get 10 in your personal name. And so like, that's how many you can get. So most people don't understand or have the education to understand how to get past 10. And quite frankly, you shouldn't go to 10 that way either. Those are mistakes I've made and done that stuff. So like, the level of experience that we're going to be able to talk about, I mean, you'll get $49 worth in the first Q&A on the first day. I guarantee you that. That's what I'm trying to lay out there. Like the level of knowledge and experience that you guys are going to have access to throughout these 4 days is going to be incredible. And it's going to be kind of modified to your needs. When I say we're going to teach for 60 minutes and then work on tactical stuff for 30 minutes, that means it's your course to guide us. Like, I mean, I don't want to harp on the pricing, but the pricing would be way more expensive to have me coach you in a setting where you could actually talk about your questions like that. That's why I said full transparency. We're trying to film this thing as an asset for our clients specifically, and we're just opening it up to the public, and I don't want it to be expensive or cost prohibitive, because like the more people that buy real estate, the more people are going to be moving their families in the direction of freedom for themselves, and that's our mission. So I don't care if we give it away, quite frankly.
Well, good, Jeff. I think you and Justin are going to pull off a fantastic course. I appreciate you guys putting this on. I know that I've learned a ton from you guys in the real estate game. So the value's there. I mean, people talk to us about getting in the inner circle, and whether it's a hang up on the price of that group or one-on-one coaching, guys, the cost and investment required to work with one of these guys one-on-one is a multiple of what you could pay to get access to them. And again, they're going to be recording the course, but this isn't a pre-recorded course for you if you're joining in live. This is an opportunity for you to take the bull by the horn, so to speak, and ask the questions. If they don't answer them in the first 30 minutes, and there's Q&A at the end for you to ask your question, get in there and ask the question of these guys. You're going to take at least one big thing away, and that can make a huge impact in your life. So, Jeff, what are all the ways that people can register for the course now?
We have a link. They can go to our Tactical Empire Facebook community on Facebook. It's a free group. The link's out there. The link is tacticalempirecourse.com. Tacticalempirecourse.com. That takes you straight to the link to buy the course. That'll shoot you into our GHL software, and it will send you invites. It will send you all the Zoom links. It will send you everything you need from there, to include reminders with the Zoom links each day. I guess we would be remiss to not say that the class is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it's every single day. It's 10 a.m. Central Time to 11:30 Central Time. We will record every single thing. If you sign up for the course, you will get all the recordings. So like Shawn said, though, to get maximum value, hop in there live, because this is really for you. If you guys want to buy property in the third quarter, this course is going to set you on the track of taking care of everything that you need to do to get that done.
Jeff, I appreciate it. I look forward to learning from you guys. There will even I, someone that's been mentored by you, will take something away from the course. So if I could take something away from the course, everyone will take something away from the course, no doubt. I appreciate you.
All right, brother. Talk next week. Good. Have a kick-ass week, guys.
Yes, sir.